Hello everybody, and welcome back once again to Space Engineers as I jump, hop, and skip off the solar panels. Whee! My bones is what I would say if I wasn't the best jetpack user in the game. And man, oh man, that scarab is starting to look good, isn't it? Wow! Like, it's very quickly becoming one of the my favorite things we built on this channel. I gotta say, like, it's actually coming together really nicely. It's got some problems, most of them being power related, but you know what? We're sort of trying to fix that with the solar array, which is definitely going to get torn down in this episode. Now, we had a lot of comments coming through about how we should handle the engines in the past week, and they sort of fell into three broad categories. There were the groups of people who sincerely believe that we should just keep it simple and put back our various thruster things. There were the groups of people who thought that we should make it even more complicated and use large amounts of merge blocks and timers and thrusters and pistons and whatnot to connect and disconnect the engines as they came in and out of their set positions. It was an interesting idea, but ultimately probably a bit doomed to fail. And then there was a third camp, which was a lot of people giving the game significantly more credit than is really due, to be honest, who was saying that my center of lift was off. Because the engines were sort of over here, above these two wheels between them, and the most of the mass in this vehicle is probably right about here, underneath these storage containers over there. And so the center of lift was all wrong, and so we were getting a bit of like a pivoting effect, like you'd see in Kerbal Space Program or the like. Except that isn't what would happen. If your center of lift was that far behind your center of mass, you wouldn't necessarily see a pivot noseward necessarily like we saw where we're just sort of floating over and around. The engines we have actually aren't strong enough to lift this. I did the maths and we need 6 of them. So how then was the back lifting off? Well, it's because of the way that subgrids interact with main grids in Space Engineers. Again, the game cannot simulate center of lift and center of mass. It does not know how to do it. So, mods that kind of get away with it sort of approximate that using that subgrid interaction. That's why you can usually only have one. To demonstrate this, we are going to head back over for the first time in a long time to a test world. Let's go do it! And here we are in our little test world. This is going to demonstrate to you, I hope, that the center of lift is not something that Space Engineers is capable of modeling. Before us, we have a very, very strangely shaped ship. We have a hydrogen engine on the back, we have a hydrogen tank with an oxygen generator, a cockpit, and some artificial mass blocks. These are designed to make things very, very heavy. So basically what we've got is just a massive amount of weight on the left-hand side and a thruster capable of supporting that weight on the right-hand side. Now, according to all known laws of aviation, this bee should not fly. If I cut away this block over here, we should see it fall into the ground, and it doesn't. It hovers in place. It is drifting backwards slightly because I think this foot is slightly at an angle. But as you can see, it's not exactly fallen down to the ground. Now, if we thrust upwards, right? If I go ahead and apply a thrust, we should see it pivot forward because all the weight is on the left-hand side. However, what's going to happen is that it flies straight up. And that's because Space Engineers, again, does not simulate the center of mass or center of thrust. What Space Engineers simulates is just thrust. All the energy you put out from an engine is applied to every single block in the grid at the exact same time by the exact same amount. The only calculation that's being done is, does X engine have enough thrust points to lift this amount of weight? And in this case, it's a yes. So as you can see, we're not rotating, we're not pivoting, we're not rolling, we are just going upwards. So let's go all the way upwards to space so that I can demonstrate the next problem. And there we go. Here we are suspended above the world, completely stationary. We are not moving at all, as you can see in the bottom left there. Now, if I were to hit the spacebar again, we would start moving uniformly. No rotational velocity whatsoever is applied to the ship. We're going to keep these asteroids behind us as kind of a point of reference. So I'm not try not to move too much here. Let's just quickly go ahead and stop that grid again. There we go, Alt F10, and then you can hit F6 to go back into your cockpit, by the way. So there we go. Now, if I hop out of the cockpit, we fly over here, we remove this engine real quick, and we add a rotor onto the end. What do you think is going to happen? So we'll put the advanced rotor so we can pass the gas through it. We will add a bit of a turn. There we go. And we're going to add the same engine. So the only change we've made, the only change is that there is now a rotor. involved in the situation here. And it's all made out of cement for some reason. Other than that, it's the same idea. So this rotor right over here, we're just going to lock it so it doesn't start spinning like sort of rotationally. We're just going to lock it like that. What do you think is going to happen to our lovely vessel now? If I hit the spacebar when I thrust up there, we should see the exact same behavior unless having a rotor introduces a new element. Let's have a look. Okay, we're going to go 3, 2, 1, hit the spacebar, and nothing happens. And that's because that thruster does not consider itself to be part of the ship anymore. No, it now considers itself to be part of the subgrid created behind that rotor. So I'm going to add a tiny bit of a thrust override, just so that we start accelerating. There we go. In fact, we'll just max it out. And now we see the rotational energy that we expected to see coming from the original static grid that we had at the start. What's happening is that all the force being produced by that thruster is not being applied to the entire ship. It is only being applied to that single conveyor block above the thruster that is after the rotor. It is the only point, because that is now considered its own grid, right? The original grid we were on is no longer part of the equation, only that one. However, the original grid's weight is still part of the equation. And so what you end up seeing is that we have all this force pushing against a weight that is attached to it, which is how it works in real life, whereas in the original game, it's all spread evenly, and now it's not. The game's kind of lucked its way into approximating center of lift and center of mass without actually being able to do it. Because what's happening here is that thruster is pushing up against that rotor part. That rotor part is clanging or physically colliding with the actual rotor body, and that's introducing ghost forces that are then causing it to spin, from what I understand. So this isn't actually the center of lift and mass. We're just kind of like goofing it in a way, right? We're sort of approaching the correct functionality without ever having to actually code it in. So well done on Keen Software House. They managed to approximate it. But as you can tell, this isn't exactly helpful for our rover. We don't really want it to spin around indefinitely, so we are actually going to have to pay attention to these things. But so while the comments were correct, the center of lift was the problem, it wasn't because of the center of lift. Space engineers can't actually simulate that. I just thought it'd be interesting academically to investigate how subgrids and static grids interact with each other, or main grids, I suppose. Anyway, that's that. I'm going to let this thing spin off into the void, and I'll see you back on the planet. Oh God, it's not spinning anymore, is it? No, we're down. We're, solid ground, thank God. I had a nightmare that I was up in space for a moment, but I don't know where I was teleported to a different party. God, what a terrible thought. Okay, so we are chugging back into the ship here, and we are going to start knocking off some more of these tasks today. The first thing I want to do, the very first thing I want to do is long overdue, and that is to head into this control panel. I have renamed this command console NOMS, and I have put food in its inventory. The comments have been begging me for ages to do this. Basically, if you put food and water in your command chair inventory and you call it NOMS, when you sit down, you will automatically eat and drink again. So I think the UI is bugged. Yeah, it's bugged right now. It bugs out all the time, so don't worry about that. That's not your fault, chair. Does it have to be lowercase, like this, maybe? Because I'm not eating and drinking when I sit in it. I'm sure I'm just getting the syntax wrong on this. Noms? Like that? I don't know. Okay, but thank you very much for the suggestion. I have seen it. Thank you specifically to Miss Nomad, who has suggested it about 800 times, and her comments keep getting blacklisted by the YouTube algorithm. I don't know why, but Miss Nomad, thank you for your service. You have been specifically added to the whitelist. This shall never happen again, okay? You've done us a great service this day. If that worked, I would have been very impressed. Even if it hasn't, it doesn't matter. Also, I just noticed all the little warning labels on these textured blocks. The DLCs are cosmetic, and you don't need to get them to enjoy the game, but I really do like them. Like how much nicer is this than the default medical station? It just feels very Web 3.0, you know, rather than 1.0, which is Base Stationeers. Base Space Engineers. God, I played Stationeers again yesterday for the first time in a couple months, and it was just so much fun. It's like incepted itself into my brain again. Now, we need to get started on the forward thrust. That's going to be the first point of order for today. Quick overview of what I want to do. So I think what we're going to start with is we're gonna have the drone bay up on top. Some people did suggest, why don't we move the solar panels as a roof for the Scarab? We can have it as like wings, and then we could have them either fold outwards or roll over. And I thought that was a great idea. And then that also kind of opens up another interesting idea where we could store the drones kind of on connector ports upside down on these things, and then the drones could kind of like when it folds back in, they could kind of like hang upside down over here like bats against the cave roof, and then when it folds out, then you can launch from there. I don't know, that could be cool, something to explore for sure, but it's not something we have to worry about right now. What I'm going to instead do is get the engine sorted, because that is very much my first point of order. So, center of mass, I mean, we are going to put these on the VTOL rotors. So, I think I want them to sort of, they're going to come out probably from this star point. I think that's close enough. And then we're going to sort of go out to here. Maybe not that far. Maybe to about here. I want them away from the wheels, but over them. And then we're going to have to build 6 thrusters in a cluster. So, 3 on each side. And that should be enough juice to lift this thing off the ground. Okay, so let's try this. Okay, so there's no getting away from it. We are going to need just some half block or some full blocks in here that are going to form part of that base. So then can I like put back a nice... Is there like a sloped one? I think there is a sloped one, right? For this size. Yeah, it's this, right? This is what I want. Yeah, there we go. So I could have sworn there was like a long corner. Perfect. Okay, cool. That actually blends all right. And then we just do the same thing here. Yeah. Okay, cool. And then we've got a nice solid connection point right there we can work with. I don't know if we're going to get away with this one as much because it's sloped. There is that really, hold on, there's that really long flat one we could try. Is it this? It's this. Hey, look at that. Keen Software House, they thought of everything. Okay, let me go do the same thing on the other side. If you'd like to see that Stationeer's gameplay, please go ahead and check it out. It's on the channel. It was a live stream. We did it about a week before this went live, I guess, on YouTube. I get confused by the release dates here. We've got a lot of moving parts these days. But there is a... I would say it was a lot of fun. We tried the brutal start, and it was a really cool time. If you are into sort of more complex modded games, we're also doing a modded Minecraft playthrough at the moment, as well as a Balatro runs. We're trying to sort of beat every deck in Balatrode every stake. So both of those videos you'll see on the homepage. YouTube algorithm tends to bury anything we do that isn't Space Engineers. So if you'd be so kind as to check that out if you're interested. It would mean a ton to both Magic and I. Thank you. It feels weird not doing something with pistons for a change. Like just building a block, it just feels so wrong. I'm so cooked, man. Okay, lovely. So we got 2 connection points for our engines to branch off of. And then I guess we just put down the engines, right? So we would need rotors, which will be these ones here. And again, I want them on this block. This is where they're going to connect. And I do believe I want these facing sort of a uniform way. I don't know if the script requires it. We might have to rebuild this a couple times. Just letting you know. Okay, so we got 2 rotors, 1 for each engine. Oh, 1 for each engine sort of block or connection. Then I want to do something like this. Okay, large thruster. Remember to lock your rotors. I completely forgot. How does that look? I mean, it's a little janky. I want it to come back at an angle, actually. I think I see what I need to change to make this look nicer. Maybe the problem is that the arm we're building on is too thin. Maybe I'll like it more if it sort of has a bit more taper to it. It's a little better. I wouldn't say it's good. It's a little better. Okay, I think I like that a lot more. Yeah, that's a much more sort of like robust looking design. It looks a lot more like intentional, less temporary. You know how it is. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing on this side and then we'll snap back. Okay, going back and forth here to constantly weld in 1,000 motors 6 times is going to probably drive me crazy. So instead, why don't we just do something way less efficient and build another welding crane off the top of this building? I mean, why not at this point, right? Okay, so to do that, we're going to need an advanced rotor, a hinge, and a couple of pistons, and that will probably do it. Advanced rotor, hinge, and then some pistons. And then we just stick a welder up top, and that, I think that should reach. That should be good. Lovely. Okay, cool. So now we potentially have a welding arm of sorts. Okay, so I'm going to add some velocity. I might actually need a second hinge here so we can go more than 90. I think I do. I think I need a second hinge there. All right, cool. That should now work. So if we were to, let's put a bit of velocity here. Oh, that's the hinge. My bad. So let's add a bit of velocity to you. Just get that face in the right way. Cool. Go like that. Excellent. And then we're going to push out this piston. Cool. And then we got to pivot this down slightly. So something like that. Yeah. And then turn you on. Aha! Perfect. We can make it look a little bit better. But that does work. Excellent. And then we should really be turning these off. There we go. Let me do that to all of them, just so that they behave. We want them on the script before they start running. Okay, so now you can turn a little bit further. I love how functional this is, man. Lovely. And then let's just pull you back a little. And then we just got to turn this some more. This actually might have been faster in the end. Oh, I'm guessing we're out of motors. Yep. No surprises there. All right, so that's just going to slowly build that. Oh, man, I love that that worked as well as it did. Oh, I'm so happy with that little welding arm. We're going to be using this again. I'm keeping that. That's staying around. It does look like the water and hydration have finally realized that they're awake. Yes, they have. So if I sit in here, do I eat? I get sanity back. Okay, so that noms is spelt incorrectly, I suppose. But what I wanted to check here is what my assemblers are doing. Okay, so assemblers 1 and 4 are both running right now. They're just kind of slow. Fair enough. They're mostly slapped with power modules. I will turn on the engines briefly. We are down to like 5% hydrogen, though. We need to figure out a way to like manifest 200,000 ice into our inventory without having to drive back to that lake. Alright, that has been welded on that side. We're moving the crane over this way at the moment. We're moving the crane too quickly this way. Go back, 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 go back. Okay, we're gonna slowly but surely descend down on this one. I'm absolutely in love with this thing. It's working so well. So much better than I thought it would have. We can reverse that piston and drop him down into the field here. Let's go ahead and add a little bit of velocity downwards. Excellent. And just get it welding. This is just, I love how simple but effective this is. Okay, cool. So that's going to just sort of tick away in the background. While that's working on that, we can do some other stuff. Now, the first thing I want to do is, we could sort out the greebling. Honestly, I know how sacrilegious this sounds to say out loud, but I think that's secondary. The first thing we need to do is to sort out electricity. But what we can do is go over here, boop, boop, and we can set up the vector thrust so long as well. So this thing here is going to run the vector thrust OS. I believe, yeah, that's still running Izzy's. So you are going to be vector thrust. Oh no, vector thrust PB. There we go. And you are going to get some content. There we go. Browse scripts. We'll go to my workshop ones. Vector thrust OS. That's the one. Check code. You running? You're running good. Probably a bit early to run that. How's that looking out of interest? I know we're flipping over right now. And that's because that thing is trying to move us. We might have to move them forward. Then? Uh-oh. Oh no! Another nightmare! How terrible. Arnar. So stupid. Okay, fine. I will actually, I've done it. I've gone and read the Vector Thrust OS infographic, and apparently there is a center of mass functionality in Space Engineers. It's crazy how easily people will just say things that are wrong. Me, I'm people. Now, the center of mass for the Scarab is right over here. That's the ship center of mass, and that's the Scarab center of mass. So it looks like, we just want to make sure which ship is this. So, okay, so this is roughly where we need the thrusters to be, and I think we're a little bit behind it. I think that's part of where our problem is coming from. No, we're pretty much dead in line. Like, I'd say that is the center point between those two issues. So that is not the issue. Thank God. Okay, cool. So our center of mass is completely fine. If the ship's center of mass is right there, so we're 1 block over. Is that correct? I think we'll be fine. Like, we're only a block off. It shouldn't flip it. Ship center of mass versus Scarab center of mass. I wonder what the difference is. Like, I wonder how the game defines them differently. Okay, so these are slowly being built up. Excellent. I mean, worst case scenario, we can swap that for a grinder head and just cut this off and do it again. We'll have all the motors made that way. But I'm going to let both sides build, and then we'll try this again. Okay, cool. So let me go continue reading the way I'm going through the guide step by step here. In fact, why don't we do that together? Okay, so here's the vector thrust guide. This is the center of mass that's been set up, so we've done that much. It is saying that the dot is the center of everything, the lines aim to the sides, front, back, up, down. That's where you reference to place as near as possible to your rotors like you see here. Okay, so they're basically saying you got to put it really, really close. I think the fact that it's extended out is fine because we've got parallel thrust on both sides. Blocks used. When building a ship, we need a controller. We need a source of energy, a fuel, gyroscope, and thrusters. Okay, we have all of that stuff. These blocks that require the script to work, else it'll crash and not start. We need rotors and hinges, at least one, with thrusters, at least one, in its top part placed horizontally, and a programmable block. Check, check, check. Alright, then it would be normal thrusters, landing gears, connectors. We're not worried about all that just yet. Okay, now what? This is very well done, this guide. Let's add the remaining parts of the ship, the building to this guide, the gyroscope and the programmable block. Okay, so he's put it all on. Excellent. So, you go to the cockpit's control panel and custom data, add VT:0 to the input and click OK. Alright, let's go do this. We're going to do this step by step together. Alright, sorry Noms, your new name is going to be VT:0. Alright. So now we should see it in there. Excellent. Alright, well that hasn't happened yet because the script's not running just yet. Because it will flip us over if it does. I think what's happening is that the rotor forces are colliding with all the other rotors on the ship and making it flip over. I think that's what's happening. Okay, finally we need to toggle between acceleration and cruise mode. For that, open the action menu and click and drag and drop your programmable block to any slot you want to select run. As an argument, add gear. Okay, and then add cruise. So use gear to toggle between accelerations. It has 3 by default. And use cruise to toggle between cruise mode. The ship will go where the ship is aiming without losing as less velocity as possible, helping you maneuver to save energy and resources. Okay, so what I'm seeing is that this shouldn't be experiencing all the ghost forces we're seeing. I think that's a result of all the other crap we've got on here. We might have to do a test run where we cut off all the other rotors and pistons and hinges and things and see if that makes a difference. Okay, let's do this quickly. Gear and cruise, I know how to do that. Okay, so the script is complaining that we have not applied the correct tags. So I've been looking at what we need to do this, and it's a little bit involved. The thruster position is 99.9%. That means that we are at the correct position for the script to work. So something else is going wrong, and I have a feeling that it's trying to spin the wrong rotors, and that's causing ghost forces. So we're going to try and fix that now. So to start, we need to find the PB. So vector thrust, there we go. So we're going to run with the argument gear first. That's our acceleration speed. And then we're going to run with the argument cruise. Then I'm also going to put one over here that is going to run with the argument apply tags, like so. I'm going to wait for all 3 thrusters to be built before I test it again, because if I try and test it before that, it all just kind of falls apart. Also, we can probably turn off the center of mass display at this point, and I'm dead. I have perished, I'm dead, I'm falling through the floor, I have died, my life is ended. I do like the way these engine clusters look now. Now that they're built and we widened them a little bit, I think that was the best way to do it. We probably could have gone a bit further off with it, but I'm pretty happy with the way they work. And the fact that they're symmetrical is really gonna help this thing function, I hope. The solar panels are kind of helping to like mask the shape of it, but I don't know if it's going to be quite enough over time. We'll see. Let's just take a look here. Oh, put the dampers back on. Let's just take a look here at how close we are. We are about halfway to having that built. Okay, cool. I'm going to wait for that to be done, and then we're going to keep trying to do this. You know what we can do in the meantime, actually, is that we can work on this guy. Let's get you up and running again, shall we? The love bug definitely needs a paint job. I agree. Someone in chat was like, the love bug paint job it's got to be a priority. I'm inclined to agree. It's a little hideous right now, isn't it? This is a 1x2. block, right? Yeah. How come you don't fit? Oh, there we go. Now you fit. Okay, let's get the old windscreen back and fixed. Lovely. How did they have it done? So we had some light armor slopes with the big boy. That seems pretty sensible to me. And we need another window in here as well. It's one of these long ones. Okay, lovely. There we go. The roof is back on. And now I think I want to add some magnetic pads to the top here. So we can use this thing as like a little bit of a... Maybe we can go find something nifty out on the range. We can grab it. And we're going to want to build a little crane that can deploy out the side, I guess. The love bug is going to be used as like a micro salvage vessel. Because this thing, God knows, it's a little bit of a pain to do anything with. We could also like put an extra cargo container up top and then drive around with it. I did see someone in the comment section suggest that we do like a small grid only survival run at some point, which is an interesting idea. It's not really something I'd ever considered, but I like your thinking. I do like your thinking. I hate that you said it, because now it's in my head, but I do like your thinking. We had a cockpit here. Which one was it? It was the buggy cockpit. That's what we were using. So let's put that in. And we've got what looks to be a little hydrogen tank underneath it as well, which is probably a good idea. We can refill our... Yeah, small hydrogen tank. We can refill our jetpack that way. All right, pretty neat, pretty neat. So now that needs to be a window. I actually kind of like having the open air side. For the simple reason that it means we can just get in from the side. We don't have to jump into the car. Although we still can if we want to. Maybe we just want to jump into the car. Maybe that's just how we do it. Maybe we put some windows there. Why not? And I'd cut that off. And I'd make that a something kind of different here. Hold on. Yeah, I want to have that space open for sure. And then this could probably just be another window. No. You know what this should be? This should be a transitional slope. It goes from like flat to slopey. Yeah, there we go. That one. And voila. Hey, look at that. Okay, cool. So that gives us a little rover we can work with. We could put a door on it. I don't think that's necessary. I think that's some extra complexity for no point. I would like an O2 generator on this vessel. Where can we fit a little one here? We could fit it up top next to the driver, but I won't be able to see out the side then. We could fit it here, but connecting it's going to be a little bit of a pain. Or hold on. Giga brain play. What if we did the conveyor? I think you need to use the regular ones for this to work. And there is a conveyor converter for small grids. Yeah, like this. So we could grab the parts for this. And we could grab the parts for this. Do I want this as I walk in? Probably not. I think I want this space open. So instead, let's move a gyroscope. So I'd want you there with the O2H2 generator on top. Okay, much better. Yeah. And then we can have a little bit of a ramp. So we have like a raised floor. And it's going to have to only get tall at around this point. So this is going to be like some enclosed space that we don't necessarily access, because that's where the conveyors are going to go. Which means that the perfect place to put the gyroscopes is going to become back there. Hey, look at that. Stick our gyros right back there. I'm just going to have to crouch when we come in here, and that's completely fine. Most people can't stand up in their cars. You gotta hit it with like a little bit of a run jump. Nope. Hit it with a little run jump. Nope. Gotta hit it with a little run and jump. Nope. Look at that, and we made it in first try. Okay, then over here we can fit a cargo container, I think. Cargo? I sure hope it does. And it would be nice to get a survival kit in here as well. Although that might be pushing our luck a little. No, that's too big. Okay, so instead, give me a beacon. Definitely going to want a beacon. Or just an antenna. Antenna will work too. You can fit the antenna. Probably, that could go on the back, maybe? Yeah, right out here. How about that? Perfect spot for it. Let's just put an emergency ration kit right over here. There. Here. There. Here. Right over here. And then I want the car to have a little bit of internal storage. It doesn't need a ton. So let's just give it some small cargo containers. And with that, the love bug is looking a hell of a lot more lovely, man. We've got a little bit going on here. I don't love the way the floor looks. We can fit something else back here, and I can't quite decide on what just yet. But I am going to put down some window panels here. And that's just going to fill in this space so we can still see it and access it, but we don't have to, like, deal with it, you know? You know? Or maybe not that one. Oh, actually, now we might as well just have none of it, right? Because you can't do it with one, don't do it with any. What do I want to put here? I can fit one more thing. We might as well fit one more thing. Can I fit a nice shrubbery, perhaps? The cowards, they won't let me do it. Remote control, probably a good idea. So we can, if we want to, use that antenna to talk to this thing, control it remotely. In which case we would want a camera on this vessel as well, which could quite easily just go on the front. We do have the top-mounted cameras, that's true, which would fit fairly well up here. We'd have to make a little ridge for it, but that's doable. There we go. Cool. And then there's one more thing I would actually like to put in there. It would be nice to have a programmable block on here. I don't know what we're going to run on it just yet. It just would be nice to have one. I'd like to build these facing kind of like that. Yeah, there we go. Okay, cool. I don't know what that's going to run just yet, but that's fine. We'll figure that out later. Any suggestions would be cool. I'm sure there's lots of really nifty Rover scripts we could use. So the love bug is working. Still steers really weirdly. I don't know what it is. Something about it just doesn't feel right. Can't tell if the wheels are backwards or what. If I go this way... It's driving a little better now. It's driving a little better now. We do need a way to recharge it. That is true, chat. That is true. Not chat. I'm actually not live streaming this. I keep saying chat. It's like a force of habit. We need to do something a little bit silly here. We need a rotor part. You're going to love this. We stick that right over there, and this is how we recharge. You ready for this? I don't think you're ready for this. There we go. It's got a nose. Oh, I love how bad that is. So then I can grab another rotor. We'll have to cut this piece off. I could put that right here. I'm not allowed. Oh, you monsters. You're really going to do this to me. I was going to just drive it forward and dock it right there. Okay, well, it needs to kind of dock forward or it's not going to work. Yeah, and it falls off. Okay, cool. So that isn't a valid placement spot. If you know of a mod that makes it so that these become valid placement spots, so I don't have to keep doing this, that would be great. There we go. Like, make the entire thing just buildable, because there's no reason it isn't, right? So we cut that off, grab the parts for this, just don't weld the... Just don't weld that top one, and we can still access the inventory there. So, let's hop into the car, and now we should be able to drive this in and do that and then click attach and it might rip the whole ship apart. So let's hit a quick save just to be sure. And we scroll down and hit attach. We are not quite at the right height. You got to be just at the right height and angle for this to work. We are going to need to adjust the wheel suspension to make this work. So we should be able to just drop the height offset slightly here. So we need to bring that down to about there. And then we need to reposition somewhat. No, not going to connect. Okay. Well, in that case, we're just going to have to do something a little bit even simpler. Okay, cut that off. Merge block in here. We need to use the small ones for this. So this is going to be our love bug docking rotor. That's capitalized, just like so. And then we're going to add a small head onto this and a merge block. Okay, and then you should get your rotor lock turned on so you don't twist. And then I should be able to do... This is just so we can charge the Rover batteries. Okay, everything's sort of lined up. Let's see if we can... Oh, one thing we do want to do is be able to set this battery to recharge specifically. This will be on recharge on or off. Hey! Okay, cool. There we go. So the love bug is now charging. That's what you want to see. This cockpit should still work. I can set that to charge. And it will drain the batteries of the main ship in order to power this little one. Awesome. Alright, cool. So love bug is secured and charged. Now, how do we detach it? Can we just like... No, I gotta cut this off every time. I see. Okay, cool. That's fine. I mean, if that's the way we have to do it, that's the way we have to do it. You can then put the merge block back on there. That's going to be part of the docking ritual. Excellent. Alright, cool. Then, you need a paint job, sir. You are hideous, and you make me sad. We need to fix that. I feel like a Mystery Mobile kind of paint job here, right? So we start with that. Maybe a little bit less saturated. Up the vibrance slightly. It's slowly backing away from me. It knows what I'm about to do to it. Okay, then... Okay, think Mystery Machine. Then we go sort of a pallid green. Oh yeah, this is the stuff. And we start putting some stripes on it. The damn Mystery Mobile. Oh, hold on, don't I have the paint gun mod installed? Let's have a quick look here. I think I do. Production, tools, paint gun. Yes. Make me a paint gun, please. Thank you. And then make me some paint chemicals. Alright, then give me the paint gun. And we'll slap that on that point right there. Okay, yeah, this should be way easier to do. Because now I can do that. Excellent. so hideous. Oh, man. I adore it. I adore it. Okay. And then the interior, we need to redo. It can't all be pink. So, what's it gonna be? We gotta put down some... We can also put down some interior blocks as well to really help change the color of the space. But what if we did something a bit more humane? Maybe like an awful sort of 70s linoleum yellow. Yeah. Oh my god, it's the Magic Mobile. I just realized. We've got all these colors. Okay, in that case, this needs to be white. Right? This is the Magic Mobile now. I don't make the rules. And we're gonna call it the Love Bug, because, I mean, come on. But this one's painted in his honor. That's for sure. Do you know what the worst part is? Is that he would absolutely love this thing in real life. I can tell you right now. He would drive this every day, unironically. And that's why we love him, folks. How about that? It is truly awful. In every conceivable way. I love it. Alright, let's go ahead and dock this bad boy. We'll take it on its maiden voyage next episode. Oh, come on. There we go. Ah, look at that. And our arm has finished welding the thrusters in the time it took us to do that. Cool. Okay, so we can turn this off. And let's retract back everything on this. Okay, excelente. Our crane is stowed. Our thrusters are on, the ship at least. I guess we hit another save and see if this tears itself apart when we turn on the vector thrust. Only one way to find out. And I am going to do this in the daytime. Not so much for the solar panels, this is more just for the aesthetics of it. Alright, so let's undock and move a little bit. Maybe being parked had something to do with it, I don't know. We do definitely have a slightly wider profile now. This tree's a little bit in the way. Yeah, hold on, we're gonna have to do some good old-fashioned arborism here. Thank you. Okay, cool. So we're on the move, we're chilling, we're vibing, we are simply accelerating. Also, I'd like to point out that this thing's actually accelerating now, which it was really struggling to do before. So that's a huge change already. Oh, there's some ice right there. Maybe we will survive the winter. Okay, it's unfortunately on the edge of a cliff. It's gonna be a little bit harder to access than I maybe would have liked otherwise. Before we go too far and get too distracted, let's park for just a moment. Okay. Zero out the energy and then try and go up this hill, because this thing cannot do slopes. That's why I wanted to get these VTOL engines running. And it looks like maybe it can do slopes now. Maybe just adding the weight has helped sort of push the wheels into the ground a bit, because we were definitely struggling with that. Okay, but let's brake. And park. Okay, cool. So, now we're going to try and turn on vector thrust. And we're going to hit another save, because I'm scared. And we're going to turn this on. Vector thrust OS is currently on. Vector thrust 0 is currently on. Let's just check what I needed to label that again, just to make sure we're on board. I clearly can't read for comprehension because I'm supposed to put this not in the name of the vessel, which not in the noms, there we go. Not in the name of the vessel, but instead in its custom data here. Okay, cool. There we go. Hey, look at that. So now I can switch between acceleration modes. Very slow. We can put cruise mode on. We have a park mode as well. And we can run the apply tags argument. Okay, so has that applied? Yes, that has applied tags to my thrusters as well as my motors. It's also applied tags to these hinges, which I don't think I want. Get rid of you. This is my crane. Has that added this VT tag to crap. Yep, it added the VT tag to every single rotor on the base. Okay, so let's reload the save so that that hasn't happened, because it'll be a lot faster to do it this way and then just manually apply them to the wing ones. Uh-oh. Okay, reloading the save has caused a bug. Clearly. Uh-oh. Why? Why? Okay, try that again. Okay, the block is off. Come on. Don't do this to me. Okay, the thrusters were on. That was the problem. Okay, so I've got a few seconds to get in there and turn off those thrusters. Yeah, no, this is Ghost Forces. This is Clang. This is just Clang. This is not a problem with the script or the placement of the thrusters. That's all perfectly correct, as we saw. This is a problem with Clang. Go thrusters off. Oh, come on, gyros. Come on, baby. I believe in you. Pushing the mouse. We're pushing the mouse. Come on. Hey. Good dunk. Okay. Whew. Save in this state. So let's relog. Is that immediately good? Are they going to switch themselves back on? Is that the bug we're seeing? Yep. It turns the thrusters on every time we load the game. That's a bit of a problem. Okay. That is a bit of an issue. It's not really what we want to see. But now we also know that might be happening because the thrusters are... Let's just check if that... Okay, that VT tag has not been applied to stuff. Excellent. That might also be happening because the thrusters are not assigned correctly. So let's try this. So they put a tag. It was like VT, right? It was like the spacer, VT spacer. Let's just have a look here. Okay, pretty cool. The script actually has customizable tags. You can change which ones it will use, which I think is actually, that's really, really cool. You don't often see that being done, but we're just going to use the default one, which is the VT tag spaced like so. So let me just copy that with the space, and I'll just assign that to all of the thrusters and the rotors we want this thing to actually use, which is not that many, right? There's only two. So we've got the right wing rotor, and we've got the left wing rotor. There we go. And now, if I turn that script on, it shouldn't just assign everything. Okay, so let's try this. Also, I should really put these thrusters on a group. And... thrusters, and that way I don't have to look for them. MCV thrusters. There we go. Okay, what could I put them at the top of the list, do you think? Maybe like one? Will that put them at the top? Yeah, one at the top. Okay, that's what I want. I want them at the top of the list. So we can just turn them off when we load in the game. Otherwise, it all falls apart. Okay, turn the script on. That hasn't broken. Excellent. This needs to have VT0 in its custom data. :0. And then, finally, we want to just run the PCB vector thrust one more time with the park argument. And before we do that, I want to get the rotors set to their limits. So, like, we want to tell them where their resting state is. So we want this to be at... I really like the way this looks. We want this to be at 0 degrees. Or at 260, right? So I'm going to add just the tiniest little smorgasbord of power. There we go. So that's currently... Okay, that's exactly 0 degrees. This is going to be where we will assign the parking command. Okay, and this one's at 259, 0.1. Gotta go back. Okay, 359.98, close enough for me. Oh, there's a lot of layers to this, huh? Check the code again. And something's gone wrong. Something's gone wrong. Something's gone wrong. It's trying to spin. The engines are on. So what's it trying to counter? How strange. Maybe this just isn't possible with all the other stuff we've got on here. Maybe the rotors are upside down. I don't know. There was no statement regarding rotor orientation in the guide that I could see. Okay, so you might be a little confused as to the scene playing out before you right now, but I promise it's all above board. We fixed it. We fixed the problem. They work now. They actually work now. I can't believe it. They work now. Magic cut to 46 minutes of my life troubleshooting this goddamn rover. We get that weird ghost force, and it's always to the left. That's the weird part, right? I decided to update the blueprint since I had made a new one, and yeah, that's not supposed to happen. The game thinks the ship is rotated 45 degrees, and I think that's why we're getting this ghost force. There is something wrong with the midpoint of the scarab. Like in the game code, that is. Okay, let's just paste this lad in space. Rover's in space. Okay, and immediately we are seeing massive torque. Alright, so the only solution here, unfortunately, is to rip off every rotor that is not the engines. And look at this, if I try and rotate the rover, it spawns in at an angle. I've never seen this before in Space Engineers, ever. Something's clanging. Just lodged over here. Yeah, something is very broken. Something is very broken with the game engine. Yeah, that's... Well, that's not quite right, is it? And then the elation of... sorry, the full emotional journey, right? Because there was the moment where we gave up, the decline. Well, gamers, I'm a bit at a loss. Other than watching the smoke, the chemtrails in the sky there, I just don't know what else we could do. I think it's just broken. I wish you all a wonderful day and hope to see you in the next one. Cheers. Then there was the triumphant return, where I realized that the issue was the goddamn ramp. Okay, and then just for the sake of completion, bonus footage here. I've cut off the grinder arm. It's still spinning, right? I have to know. I have to know what's responsible for this. Take out this rotor. Are you still spinning? He's still going. He's still going. Okay. What if? Pop that off. Pop that off. How are we looking now? It was the ramp. The ramp was torquing the rover over to the front left. It was the way one of these rotors was interacting was just trying to flip the entire ship. So the second we gave it any lift at all with the thrusters, it all just kind of like went whoop over that way. What a journey. What a joyous journey we've been to. I know it's such an odd way to finish off this episode, but I genuinely just don't have any more time because it took so long to troubleshoot. But I can show you this. If I turn on the engines, we don't flip anymore. No, sir. In fact, I can now move my mouse, and we can actually rotate the vessel. Oh god, if I could get the camera to cooperate. We can rotate the vessel, we can land, and we can get back to grinding. Man, if that isn't just overly satisfying, I don't know what is. Oh, it feels so good when things come together. There it is. I did have to cut off a couple of these grinders because there is a small space issue at this point. Put the engines on. Turn me over this way a little bit, would you? Now, of course, we don't have left and right thrust. We can only go forward and backwards. So we can do like sweeping arcs. So I can rotate the ship, but I can't actually... what's the word I'm looking for? I can rotate the ship, but I can't actually like strafe. That's right. We can go forward. There we go. And we can go back. We cannot go side to side. Unless, of course, we just pick up some ghost forces that allow us to do so. I think that's actually the planetary gravity that's pulling us sideways slightly there. If I pick up a bit, we should just sort of drift to the left. Yeah, there we go. And that's because, I don't know if you can see, there's an imperceptible incline that we're on right now. So the total force adds up. We got a lot of mass here. A lot of force. Okay, get a little higher. Okay, this is ruinously expensive for the for the batteries, though. So maybe we don't do that too much. Instead, maybe we drive forward. And there we go. We can just sort of scrape up the rest of that. I just want this as a lot of steel. All right, but there we go. We've done it. We've done it, kind of. Kind of, we've done it. We've kind of done it. We've done it, kind of. And doesn't that just feel great? Doesn't it feel great to know, chat, comment section, people, that you were here? You were here when the Westfold fell. And the Westfold specifically was the ramp. Which means we've now got a whole bunch of additional space for designs and ideas and things that we didn't have before, which is super duper cool. And I'm super duper looking forward to it. We can now fly this rover over to a fuel source, which is going to be ice. I think there's just no other thing for it. We're just gonna need some ice. Oh god. I shouldn't be allowed near rotors. It's me. I'm the problem. It's me. Although honestly, you know what? Shout out to the game engine for figuring that one out. It was the ramp. It was Old Man Jenkins the whole time. Ah, I can't believe we were betrayed by one we loved so much. Well, you know what this deserves, gamers? This deserves some sick beats. And this is probably not the beats. Hold on, give me a second here. Okay, and we're gonna keep the flipped one as a commemoration of what we've been through. Thank you, everyone, so much for being a part of this wonderful journey today. It has been an absolute banger of an episode for sure. Not to record or to live through, but probably to watch. Just so many explosions, so many flips, so many deaths, so many mistakes and regrets. But, we've made it out the other side. And now we've got nothing to do but listen to the sweet, sweet tunes of Space Engineers. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you to the members and patrons for keeping this content rolling. Thank you all so much for your participation in the comments and the hitting that like button, subscribing, and of course joining the Discord server. Link down in the description. Goodbye.
Trust in us. This is the promise that we will keep. Space Engineers. Space Engineers.
You made it to the end of the video. Congratulations and thank you. That puts you in the top 3% of viewers. Here's another video that YouTube thinks you're going to like, and here is a list of all the patron and channel member names. If you don't see yours on there, you can find a link down in the description where you can sign up and support this content directly. If your name is on there, well, you probably already know that, huh? So, what are you still doing here?